On day 1, I spawned in as a chicken, but something feels different. I'm a warden chicken. I looked around and found myself in a mystical underground chamber. That's when I laid an odd-colored egg on the ground. Huh, a warden chicken egg. I wonder if I can hatch a friend. I threw the egg against the ground, and it caused a small explosion. Whoa, I'm definitely no ordinary chicken. I wonder what other abilities I'll unlock. That's when I heard a couple creatures come up to me. A chicken and a warden. You guys must be my parents. But how does that even make sense?
Hey son, don't be so reckless with your warden powers. Somebody could end up getting hurt.
Yeah, unlike me, you'll unlock a lot of new and powerful abilities as you grow up. Try not to get hurt.
My parents started taking me back to our home, but on the way, we heard menacing sounds becoming louder and louder, and the walls around us started turning into skulk. Mom? Dad? What was that? It wasn't long before we were ambushed by the Shadow King.
The last remaining warden. I'll enjoy killing you just as much as I did the others. Run away, Cilio. We'll hold him back.
I started running, but turned around to see my dad in a tough battle against the Shadow King. And it wasn't long before he was killed, and my mom was captured. I wanted to stay and help them, but I knew I stood no chance at fighting him. I had to get going. Since I only had 8 hearts, I ran away as fast as I could. But it wasn't long before the Shadow King was right on my tail. Just then, I saw an entrance to a hallway that took me even further down the cave, and I entered an even older part of the ancient city on day 2. That's when I heard footsteps approaching, and I quickly hid behind one of the buildings nearby. And just then, the Shadow King entered the city with a bunch of his minions too.
Locate the heart of the warden right now, and bring it to me, along with that puny warden chicken. Also, let's give this place a makeover while we're at it.
I knew it wouldn't be long until they found me, so I started sneaking out of the cave as stealthily as I could. But that's when I saw a glimmer of light from the corner of my eye, and turned to check it out. It seemed to be some sort of gem. I picked it up, and felt something inside of me change, as if the gem had some sort of special energy. I didn't have time to think about it though, as just then the Shadow King's minions spotted me.
He's over here, boss!
It wasn't long before the king appeared right in front of me.
I've got you cornered now, buddy. You're coming with me.
The Shadow King started advancing towards me, but that's when I laid another egg and used it to stun the king, and I ran right past him.
Your beauty tricks won't get you far. Minions, grab him!
The king's minions were getting closer and closer, and they were about to catch me. But just as they were about to pounce on me, the ceiling of the cave shattered and fell right down behind me, blocking off the minions from getting me.
You may have escaped this time, but I promise you, this isn't the last time you'll be dealing with me.
On day 3, I finally made it out of the cave and into the overworld. I spotted a couple of berries on the ground, so I decided to collect them. And just as I was about to eat them, I spotted something hiding in the bushes.
Huh, you certainly aren't a normal chicken, but you'll make a good dinner for sure.
Nope! I was already tired enough from being chased by the Shadow King, so not wanting to risk another fight, I took off, running deep into the forest. I was running for what felt like ages, until I spotted a mountain, which was the perfect place for a warden to live in. Before getting to work, I realized I was on really low hunger, so I ate the berries I found earlier, and that's when I suddenly transformed into a medium-sized warden chicken, with 6 more hearts. I also laid another egg, and when I threw this one on the ground, it caused an even bigger explosion. Looks like I'm already getting stronger. Awesome! Before starting on my base, I made sure to chop down a few trees, make some tools, and then get right to work. Wardens are known for their underground cities, so that's exactly what I plan on building. Using a pickaxe to mine all the way down would take way too long, so I did what any chicken would, and started blowing up a path down underground with my eggs. Wow, being a warden chicken sure pays off. It wasn't long before I dug down deep enough and cleared out a massive opening underground where I'd build my city. As a half chicken, I also wanted to respect my mortal routes, so I started building my very own farmhouse. I didn't have enough materials to build anything too impressive, but I had just enough to build a roof over my head and decorate my cave well. I then remembered the gem I found earlier, and after taking a look at it, I saw that it was called the Heart of the Warden. Wait. This must be what the Shadow King was looking for earlier. I wonder what makes him want it so badly. I then placed my bed and went to sleep after a super successful day. On days 4 through 5, I woke up early to some scrambling outside of my house. I went to go and check it out and found the fox staring menacingly at my entrance. What are you doing here? This time I'm ready to face you and I won't go easy.
Don't worry, I'm not with the Shadow King. I'd just like to tell you more about the heart of the Warden.
Something about the fox felt off to me, so I charged at him. I started swinging my sword, but the fox was dodging the hits with ease. It didn't even try to fight me back, and started running off into the forest.
Whenever you're ready, come and find me. I would hate for the heart of the Warden to end up in the wrong hands. There could be devastating consequences.
The fox then ran off into the forest, and it had me thinking, maybe I shouldn't have attacked him. If he really was working for the Shadow King, I'm sure I'd be a gunner by now. I wish I would have listened to what he had to say. I didn't have time to think though, as just then I was surrounded by a bunch of the Shadow King's minions.
Looks like we found you again. You're not very good at hiding, are you? This time, we won't let you escape. Get him, boys!
The shadow minions started rushing at me, forcing me back into my base as I was fighting them. I was doing my best to fend them off, but their hits were really starting to hurt me, and they left me in low health, causing me to flee my own base and run off into the night. I was so exhausted that it wasn't long before I covered myself up in a small dirt hut and fell asleep in a ditch for the night. It was early in the morning on days 6 through 8 when I woke up and heard footsteps coming from outside my hut. I went to check it out, and my surroundings were filled with a bunch of mobs that hadn't yet started burning from the sunlight. Can't I catch a break out here? That's when I laid an egg, and I had an idea. Let's see what my warden powers are truly made of. I started blasting the mobs with my abilities, and I was clearing through them with ease. Not even a single zombie, creeper, or skeleton managed to hit me, and I got out of harm's way unscathed. Not bad for a chicken. These eggs are not to be messed with. I used a lot of my energy laying all those eggs though, and I was really hungry, so I set off to find myself a food source. It wasn't long before I spotted some berries like the ones I found earlier, but as I headed to go and collect them, I found the fox being attacked by a couple stray minions of the Shadow King. I'm gonna make things right after what I did in the morning. I ran up to the fox and helped him fight off the minions, and we turned out to be a pretty good team. Working in perfect sync, we managed to obliterate the Shadow King's minions in no time. Hey there, I wanted to say sorry earlier. I should have listened to you and realized your intentions were good.
That's okay. It's understandable you'd be cautious, especially with all the terror the Shadow King's been causing all around. And hey, thanks for saving me.
No problem. I owed it to you for sure. What's your name, by the way?
My name's Frank.
I'd love to hear more about what you have to say later, Frank. But for now, let's head home. I'll need your help kicking out some unwanted guests. We made our way back home, and to my delight, there were only a few of the Shadow King's minions left at our house, and we made sure to make quick work of them. I was really tired after all the fighting though, so I quickly placed Franca's very own bed, and then went to sleep for the night. I was so tired that I slept through all of day 9, and in my dream, I had a nightmare that I was approached by the Shadow King.
Puny little warden chicken. I'm honestly quite impressed by how you've managed to evade my minions so far. But for now, you better stay away from me, or I'll capture you just like I did your mother.
Don't you dare hurt her! And why are you doing this?
Now that there's none of you wretched wardens left to stop me, as soon as I get my hands on the heart of the warden and its power-up gems, there is nothing that will be able to stop me from enslaving everybody and creating the perfect world, full of decay.
I woke up from my nightmare, worried about the Shadow King's evil plans, but it also gave me hope that I could have a chance of beating him. I need to find those gems before he does, or the whole world will be done for. On days 10 through 12, I woke up and told Frank all about the Shadow King's plans.
That is concerning. We better be on our way to find some more clues to help us collect those gems.
Let's go! On our search, Frank told me a little more about the Heart of the Warden.
The Heart of the Warden is an ancient charm that the most powerful wardens would use to fight off evil. When combined with the power-up gems, the warden would unlock new and powerful abilities. They were basically unstoppable.
So you're saying that if I managed to find these gems, I could fight the Shadow King?
You definitely could, but I have a strong feeling that the Shadow King will be looking for those gems just as actively as us, so we can't afford to waste any time.
We had been talking for a while and realized we had found ourselves in a settlement in the middle of a field. And just then, a couple of monkeys ran up to us.
Please help us! Please, please, please! We need help!
Whoa, take it easy. What's going on?
The evil Shadow King kidnapped our son. We need your help to get him back. We're not strong enough ourselves.
Of course I'll help out. Where are they keeping him? The monkeys told us where to go, and we headed out to save their son. And it wasn't long until we made it there. We found a massive cage at the edge of a cliff. And it wasn't long before we spotted the Shadow King and some other menacing shadow creature talking to each other. They talked for a while until the king handed him some sort of powerful weapon, and they then went on their separate ways. Oh no, that sentinel must be one of his commanders. And even without that weapon, he looked really strong. I have a feeling this won't be the first time I run into that guy.
You're right, this isn't good, but let's hurry up and free the monkey while they're still gone.
We ran up to the monkey and broke him out of his cage, returning back to the settlement with him.
Thanks so much for saving our son. Here, take this iron as a thank you.
The monkey then handed me enough iron to create an entire set of iron gear. We then thanked him and started making our way home. But that's when he stopped us in our tracks.
Oh, also, I don't know if this is helpful or not, but I found some sort of cave near the mountains up north by the Great Lake. It might be worth checking out.
Thank you so much. We made it back home on days 13 through 16. I got right to work upgrading my home. If I was going to become a powerful warden chicken one day, I'd need an epic base to match my strength. I started off by making a lot of upgrades to the aesthetic of the base, by adding some more greenery and building nice walkways on the ground. I also added some nice lights along the way, and finished it off with a beautiful fountain in the center. I also realized that since Frank now lived with me, my food store was starting to really run low. So I decided to build my farmhouse its very own farm. Not only did I decide to plant a bunch of carrots, potatoes, and wheat, but I also made a little section for sweet berries for Frank to eat. He's going to love these. I then headed out to mine some clay to help me get started on a massive project. I started off by crafting a bunch of shovels, which I used to mine a ton of clay. I then went out to look for some additional materials. I found a bunch of cacti in a desert nearby and found a massive vein of lapis, which I happily took home with me. I used these materials to craft myself a bunch of blue, green, and cyan dye, which I used to color my clay, after which I got right to work. I started working on a Warden chicken statue. I wanted to show the Shadow King that he can't silence me. This was going to be a sign of my strength that I'd keep building up as I become stronger and stronger. I didn't get too far into the build, but I was really happy with the progress I made and was excited to finish it off later. Days 17 through 20 came around and I once again heard rustling outside. Frank was still sleeping though, so it could be anything, or worse, anyone. I pulled out my sword and started heading towards the entrance, but when I looked out, I didn't see anything.
Hey, down here!
I looked down and saw a group of lily tads waiting for me, who told me that they found my home because of the statue I started building earlier.
Our home was withered away by the Shadow King, and all he did was walk through it. All the wildlife died in his path as he walked through our forest, leaving us without a home. Do you mind if we'd stay here with you?
Of course! Come on inside! I made sure to get right to work, building them their very own flowery greenhouse to stay in, making sure to add lots of greenery to remind them of how their home used to be. I also realized that Frank had been sleeping on the same bed from way before, so I decided to give him a little upgrade too. I built him his very own barn house to stay in, adding a cozy little den entrance to make it truly feel like a home for him. Just then, the lily tads came up to me panicking.
Silio, one of the Shadow King's minions must have followed us here. He's gonna try to kill you.
I ran up to the entrance, and there I saw a massive shadow beetle that did not look friendly. Bring it on, you big bully! I charged the beetle, hitting it with my sword, and I could tell I was hurting it. But I forgot to craft armor with the iron I got earlier, so he really hurt me too. Ah! This was not a good idea! That's when I laid a few eggs and started blasting the beetle with it. He was super resilient though, so even with my Warden chicken powers, this was a tough battle. But eventually, I did get the upper hand and killed him, even though I was left with just one heart. That's when out of nowhere, the heart of the Warden started glowing, and I felt it signaling me to head to the next Warden city to look for the first gemstone. I wanted to make sure I was ready for anything this journey could bring upon me first, so I went mining, and it wasn't long before I found a big vein of iron. I didn't even need much to craft myself a full set of armor and tools, with the help of the iron the monkeys gave me earlier. I was definitely in need of an upgrade. I made it back home on days 21 through 24 and told Frank to pack his gear up and get ready to go. It was finally time to go and look for the next Warden city. We arrived at the location the monkeys described earlier, but we were having no luck finding this cave. Maybe the monkeys were mistaken and the cave's located somewhere else. How about we just head back home?
How about we ask around first? I'm sure the mobs living here know better.
Frank was right. We asked around and it wasn't long until we found someone who could help.
I must warn you, my friends, that the path of the ancient Warden city is not for the faint of heart. Are you sure you are ready?
We are. Let's do this.
Good, good. Fear not. I shall guide you through the shadows for now.
The raccoon led us down a hidden pathway deep underground until we eventually reached the cave.
Just through that door?
Frank and I entered the room, and just like last time, my Heart of the Warden started glowing. And this time, a statue in the city started glowing too. I made my way over to it, and in the chest located beneath it, I found a red gemstone. I'm glad I made it here before the Shadow King. I picked up the gemstone, and that's when I felt a boost in power and gained 6 more hearts. I also felt myself gain a lot of Warden strength, but I couldn't figure out how to activate it yet. That's when I realized the raccoon was gone. Frank? Where's the raccoon?
I don't know. I swear he was just here.
That's when I heard loud footsteps approaching, and just then I saw the Shadow Sentinel and the raccoon enter the city together.
They're somewhere in here, my lord. I brought them here just like you asked me to.
Good. I will make quick work of them.
No way! They must have been working together to lure us here! We need to escape fast! We tried making our way out without being spotted, but once again, we were.
Any last words, you pathetic creatures?
Never underestimate a Warden chicken. I'll show you what I'm truly made of. I felt energy radiating from the Heart of the Warden, and that's when I blasted him with an energy beam from my chest. Whoa! That was awesome! My new ability must have been thanks to that gemstone. Even though I managed to hit the Sentinel right in its torso, it seemed to absorb the blast with ease.
Enough playing around. You guys are coming with me.
Cilio, let's run away. He's too strong.
We started making our exit, but this time luck was not on our side, as right before we made it to the exit, he caught Frank and took him as hostage.
You're coming with me, little fox.
No! I knew it would be foolish of me to challenge him now, so I ran out into the forest and hid in a little hut to stay for the night. I can't keep letting my close ones get hurt. I'm going to find each and every one of the remaining stones and I'm going to save them. I woke up early on days 25 through 27 and got right to work. I had to find a way to become even stronger and learn to control my new ability. My only issue was that I had no idea how to do that. So I once again decided to go out and look for help. I asked all around and it didn't seem like I was getting anywhere until one mob finally had some answers.
Oh yes, I know someone who may be able to help you. He's an ancient end creature who used to be very good friends with some of the most powerful wardens to ever exist. I'm sure he'll be able to help you out.
I thanked the witch and started making my way back home. I just really hoped that this time this stranger wasn't lying. After finally arriving at home, I quickly farmed up all the crops I had and got to work building walls around my home. If I was going on a long mission, I wanted to make sure my friends would be okay, so I made sure to completely surround my base with stone walls to keep any unwanted visitors out. I then went to sleep to have one final good night of rest before my upcoming adventure. On days 28 through 32, I made sure to pack up anything and everything I might need on my journey, and then headed out. After a while, I spotted some strange sort of statue and went to investigate. As I made it to the base of it, I found a set of stairs downwards, and I decided to check it out. And as I made it inside, it was clear that this route led towards the end portal. Well, this was convenient. Maybe too convenient. I don't think I have another choice though. I ignored my worries and headed towards the end portal. But just then, I was struck hard from behind and I was instantly knocked out. When I eventually woke up, I found myself in some sort of dark cave with other mobs locked in cages similar to the one I was in. What? Where on earth am I? That's when, out of the corner of my eye, I saw Frank being transported to some other location. Frank, I'm over here.
Don't worry about him. He'll enjoy his time in our deepest underground chambers with the other filth like your mother.
What do you want? Why not just kill us?
That's what I was thinking. Now you're on the right track. But I was told not to risk breaking those gemstones you possess. So you better hand them over right now, or I'll bring this sentinel here to take them back himself.
There's no chance I'm giving you anything. You'll have to kill me for it.
As you wish. But just remember that I warned you. My boss won't be as nice as me.
The raccoon left me to fetch the sentinel, and I knew my time was low, but I didn't know what to do. The cage was made from some reinforced material, and no matter what I tried, I couldn't manage to break through it. I was starting to lose hope, until out of nowhere, I heard an explosion and saw the lily tads heading towards me, helping me out of the cage. Thanks so much for saving me, guys. Without you, I would have been done for.
No problem, it's the least we can do for you. But let's be fast, they'll be on our tail in no time.
Together, we fought off each and every one of the Shadow King's minions, and managed to escape the building just in time before hearing the sentinel scream in rage. I wonder what the king is planning to do with these gems if he manages to find one. I hope I never have to find out. After helping my Lily-Tad friends back home on days 33 through 36, I was determined to save Frank and all the other innocent creatures the Shadow King has captured. I wasted no time, this time heading to the portal with full precaution. It wasn't long before I made it inside, and thankfully this time I was free to enter the portal. I hopped inside the portal and was teleported to the end, but as soon as I hit the ground, I was trapped in some sort of holding device. Ah, what? Not another one of the Shadow King's traps. How do I keep falling for them? I looked around me and saw an end city that was in ruins. The Shadow King must be responsible for this. I can't let him keep doing this. That's when I heard a sound behind me and saw that an end snail had teleported right behind me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want any trouble. I'm not here with the Shadow King, I promise.
You definitely don't look like the previous shadow minions who raided this city. You probably won't taste like them either.
What? Anyways, I need your help. You need to help me master my warden abilities. I need to be way stronger to even stand a chance at fighting the king.
I see. I admire your courage. You remind me of my good old friend Leraiden, the fiercest warden king of all time. I will teach you. We'll begin right now.
The end snail took me to a makeshift training course out of whatever material was left after the Shadow King's attacks. It wasn't much, but it was enough to do the job. He helped me work on my strength, my agility, and even helped better my egg throwing accuracy with a game of cornhole.
Wow, Cilio. I'm very impressed by how fast you've picked up on all these new skills. I think you may be ready to face your final and hardest challenge, the End Beetle.
We've barely even started. Can we train for a bit longer before doing anything extreme?
Maybe you're not as strong-willed as I thought you were.
Fine. Where is he? The end snail told me where to go, and it wasn't long before I found myself on a seemingly empty island. Just then, the beetle appeared from underground, and he was even more intimidating than I would have thought. Maybe I'm not ready yet. I'll see you later. The beetle was not having any of it though, and started charging right at me. He struck me first, and that's when my mistake was confirmed, as he dealt over 3 hearts of damage in just 1 hit. I should have just stayed at home. I started running away from the beetle in circles, but it was clear that that would never work. I had to show courage, just like the ancient Warden King used to. I turned at the beetle and started firing at it with my explosive eggs, and I could tell the beetle was not ready for them. I quickly ran out of eggs though, and had to pull out my sword. I guess this is it, you stupid bug. I started slashing at the beetle, and even though he dealt tons of damage, all my new training had clearly paid off, as it wasn't long before I managed to kill it. Yes, I did it! I can't wait to tell the end snail. I made it back to the ravaged end city on days 37 through 41, and told my master about how the battle went, and he told me he had a surprise for me.
Here, Cilio, this gemstone I'm about to give you is from the ancient Warden King Leraiden's personal collection. He used it to unleash massive power from his chest. As half chicken, it may be risky using this power, but to beat the Shadow King, you will surely need it.
The end snail handed over the gemstone, and as soon as I picked it up, my heart of the warden had a shine of light. And that's when I grew into an even larger warden chicken, gaining 6 more hearts. I also felt a weird boost in my energy, so I decided to unleash it against the ravaged buildings. And that's when I let out a massive fully powered warden beam. Oh yeah! That's more like it. I thanked the Ensenal for all of his help, and after he wished me luck, I headed straight back to the overworld. When I spawned back in, it was nighttime, and mobs were roaming around everywhere. This is the perfect time to truly test my abilities out. I started firing my warden beams at each and every mob that came my way, and it was safe to say that they stood no chance at all. No wonder Loridon was that powerful. This new gem is crazy. I eventually made it home, where I finally had the comfort of sleeping in my own bed for the night. Ah, home sweet home. I was woken up on days 42 through 46 to the lily tat standing around my bed. Whoa, guys, what's going on? Isn't it a bit too early for this?
Sorry for waking you up, Cilio, but we have great news. We found out where Frank's being held hostage. It's over at one of the nearby lava falls in the mesa biome nearby. He's being held by the Shadow Sentinel. You have to go and save him fast. I don't know how long he has left.
I didn't waste a second and headed straight to the mesa biome. And just like the lily tats had said, I saw Frank being held as hostage. But not by the Sentinel, but by a massive golem. There's no way I can let Frank get hurt ever again. I have to go and face that golem myself. I snuck up behind the golem and made sure to perfectly aim my egg and blasted it against the back of its head. But for some reason, it didn't even seem to flinch, or as a matter of fact, even notice me. What? How is this even possible? The king must be building some sort of device to withstand my warden powers. I guess a good old-fashioned sword fight it is. This golem was an absolute tank, and there was no way for me to take it out with my sword alone. But I realized after hitting it hard enough in its chest, a loud crack sounded through the ear, which had me thinking I may have broke his magic aura. I charged up all my energy and let out a powerful warden beam, which managed to finally kill the golem guard. That was awesome! Now Frank, I'm coming!
Cilio, you came for me. Thank you so much.
Of course, Frank. How could I not? That's when we heard loud footsteps approaching from the distance, and I knew the Sentinel was close by. Come on, Frank, let's head out fast. After finding safety behind a nearby hill, we looked back at the cage and saw the Sentinel pacing around in rage as he found his commander dead.
Cilio, I have so much to tell you. I might know more about where the next Warden City is, but I'll tell you tomorrow. For now, I need some rest.
On days 47 through 51, Frank told me all about how he had been treated, and everything he learned about the Warden cities and the Shadow King's plans.
It turns out there's only 2 of the ancient Warden cities left, and the stones they hold are even more powerful than the last. If the Shadow King managed to get hold of even one of those stones, he would be able to extract enough power from it to become immortal and incomprehensibly strong. We cannot let that happen.
Of course not. I completely agree.
The king also knows of your intentions to gather these stones and take him out, so we'll have to be extra cautious on our next mission.
We sure will.
Now, another more positive piece of news I have is that I heard of a small underground cave that you should go and check out.
I headed off to check this cave out, and it wasn't long before I found a massive vein of diamonds lying around. Frank is such a lifesaver. I mined up each one of the diamonds, and I had enough to craft a full set of diamond armor and a sword. I'm going to use my new gear to save my mother and kill that wretched Shadow King. I promise. On days 51 through 56, I wanted to make a stand against the Shadow King and show him I'm not messing around. With the help of some extra clay that the lily tats had gathered for me, I headed up to my statue and started working on the body. I didn't get very far though, because it wasn't long until our base was ambushed by a bunch of the Shadow King's minions. I guess it's time to try out my new gear. Once I made it down to the base, I realized there were a lot more of his minions than I expected. But it turns out my new gear and abilities were really paying off, as I was able to kill them all with ease. I was happy to have been able to kill all the enemies, but something felt really off. That's when I heard loud footsteps approaching, and it wasn't long until I stood face to face with the Shadow Sentinel.
I see you managed to fight off my little minions with ease. But don't be too excited, I'm nothing like those pathetic creatures. This is something I should have done long ago. Get ready to die.
Bring it on, Sentinel. We both know you're going down right here and right now. We charged at each other with everything we had. I used my Warden Beam and eggs to do as much damage to the Sentinel as possible. And even though they weren't enough to kill them, they were definitely enough to leave him hurt.
Huh. You think those puny Warden abilities are enough to stop me? Have a taste of my Shadow Cannon.
The Sentinel started blasting at me with some sort of shadow power, and these hits did way more damage than anything I had ever faced before. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. The brute started advancing towards me, getting ready to deal his final blows. But that's when I heard my friends roar at the sentinel and started attacking him from all angles.
Silio, we couldn't let you have all the fun.
Yeah, let's kick this guy's butt once and for all.
Working as a team, we managed to fight him off without facing a single casualty. Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
Huh. You may have got the upper hand this time, but next time you won't be so lucky. I'll have a couple more tricks up my sleeve next time, so don't you dare even try to find more gemstones. This is your final warning.
There is no way I'm listening to that big bully. Next time, I'll make sure he's dealt with for good. I didn't want to finish the day off quite yet, so before heading to bed, I decided to go and put some more work into my statue. I got a lot of progress in, and even managed to finish off the body completely. I'm really proud of my progress on this statue. I can't wait to finish it up and see what it's like. I woke up early on days 57 through 59, and obviously ignoring the Shadow Sentinel's demands, I headed out to find the second to last Warden city. It wasn't long before I made it to the coordinates Frank told me to head to, and just as he had said, I found an entrance to a Warden city. This time, something felt off though, as the entrance to the city was cracked. Oh no, they better not have made it here before me. I headed deep into the city, and just as I had suspected, I was too late. The city was in ruins, and there was no gemstone anywhere in sight. Just then, the entrance to the city closed off, and I was stuck in the pitch black city all alone. That's when a part of the city lit up, and I saw the Shadow Sentinel staring back at me. Ugh, how did you make it here so fast? You must have the gem, don't you?
I sure do, and with the help of it, I'm gonna make sure you never see the light of day again.
The Sentinel started blasting me with shadow beams, bigger and stronger than last time. How on earth am I supposed to kill this guy? I knew I had to do something, so I started to use the ruins of the city buildings as cover from the blasts, and it seemed to be working. I was weaving through the shots and blasting him with my Warden eggs wherever I had the chance. I could tell that I was hurting him, but I got overconfident, and that's when I got struck with a massive shadow blast, and I felt all my energy get drained. There's no way I'll be able to use my Warden powers anymore. What am I going to do? That's when the Sentinel started approaching me, and I came up with a plan. I threw one of my gemstones on the ground to pretend he had knocked it out of my inventory.
I knew you stood no chance fighting me. All your gemstones are about to be mine.
He started heading towards the gemstones, and that's when I circled around the ruins to ambush him. And as soon as he picked it up, I struck him in the back of his head with my diamond sword, finally killing him and earning me the city's gemstone. Woohoo! Yes! That's my biggest achievement so far. I'm so close to putting an end to the Shadow King's rule and saving my family. I also sensed energy building up in my Heart of the Warden, and that's when I grew in size and gained 6 more hearts. I also yet again felt my Warden beam increase in power. I can't wait to show the Shadow King what I'm made of. I started making my way back home on days 60 through 64, and I was ready to finally have a good night's rest. I had earned it. But on the way, I spotted a small village in the distance, and although I was initially going to just head past it, I saw a large withered path leading straight into the village, and I assumed the worst. No way the Shadow King's been here. I have to check on these villagers. I really hope they're okay. I went to check on the village and saw the whole place in ruins. The buildings were destroyed, and there wasn't a single villager in sight. I feel so bad for these guys. Hopefully they managed to escape the king. I started leaving the village, but that's when I saw a small note on the ground under some rubble, which read, "Dear Alex, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to send you one last letter wishing you well while I'm still alive. The Warden city nearby has been scouted by the Shadow King's minions at an alarming rate, and I fear we may get caught in the crossfire. Have a good life."
Huh, it looks like my letter wasn't sent after all. I guess our messenger llama didn't make it far before the king attacked.
I'm so sorry for what you've gone through. Are there any more villagers alive apart from you?
I'm afraid not. Some of us tried to escape, but I doubt they made it very far considering how infested these lands have been with the king's minions. It's been especially rough in these parts because of the Warden city nearby.
Wow, I would love to hear more about that. But for now, how about I take you back home with me? I don't think it's safe for us here.
Thanks, let's do it.
The villager and I made it back home on days 65 through 68, and after a long night sleeping on the rocky floor, I decided to build the villager a house of his own. I wanted to make him feel at home, so I built the house similar to the ones at his old village. But I did of course spice it up a bit, to give him a little more luxury. Here you go. I hope you enjoy your home.
It's amazing, thank you.
I forgot to ask you earlier, but what's your name?
I'm called Alex.
Wait, but didn't you write that letter to an Alex? I'm so confused.
It's a long story, don't worry about it.
Okay. But anyways, I'd love to hear whatever more you know about the Warden City near your old home. If I manage to get the gemstone located in the city, I might even become strong enough to fight the king and kill him.
Well, if the city is what you want to find, I can show you the way. But I fear it may be too late. I'm sure the king is on the way there as we speak.
Thank you so much. I'm on it. Alex told me exactly where I'd find the Warden City, but before I left, I had one final thing I wanted to accomplish. I made sure to build a bunch of additional barn houses in my home before I left on my journey, in case any stray mobs found themselves here and wanted a place to stay. I also wanted to give them a grand entrance, so I decided to do some more interior decorating on the entirety of the base, making sure to really make it feel like a Warden City of my own. And I was really happy with the progress I made. I wasted no more time and quickly gathered as much food as I could, and then had one last rest before going out to find the final gemstone. Days 69 through 74 came around, and I headed out at the crack of dawn. I headed towards where Alex told me I'd be able to find the ancient Warden City. But as soon as I started approaching the location, a massive storm whipped out, and a bunch of lightning started striking all around me. Oh no, I need to find cover fast. I didn't have time to look around, so I scurried into the first shelter I found on the side of a mountain. And as I made my way in, I noticed something strange. The walls of the cave were covered in skulk. But that must mean this has to be the final Warden City. I need to go and find that gemstone as soon as possible. I made my way down to the entrance of the city, and as I walked inside, I found it to be way bigger and more amazing than any of the Warden cities I had visited before. Whoa, this place is insane. No wonder the most powerful gemstone is held here. I marveled at the city's wonder, and that's when I spotted an even larger statue in the middle of this one, with a chest right in front of it. That must be where the final gemstone is located. Here I come! I made it to the chest, and as I opened it, a shine of light blinded me. And when I opened my eyes again, I found the gemstone. Suddenly, I heard loud footsteps approaching me, and I was struck in the back without warning. What was that?
How dare you kill my sentinel, and even think of trying to kill me? Didn't I warn you to stay out of my way?
I don't care. I'm way stronger now, and I'm ready to finally kill you. That gem will never end up in your hands.
Oh, you think so? Well, bring it on!
I charged at the Shadow King, but little did I know he had already picked up the gemstone, and I could feel a new sort of power radiating from him. He hit me just once, knocking me back hard against one of the city's buildings, and I passed out in an instant. I eventually woke up sore and exhausted on days 75 through 79, lying against the building he had knocked me against. Wait, why did he leave me alive? That must mean he thinks I'm not a threat. This is not good news. I knew I had to do something, anything, so I left the city in a rush and started making my way home. On the way home, I spotted a massive and dark castle in the distance, and I was really curious to what it could be holding, or who could live there. But I knew this was not the time for that. I had to stop the Shadow King. I was also still hurt from the Shadow King's hit, so I needed to head home and recover. It took me a while, but I eventually made it back home, and I was clearly not in a good shape.
Oh, Cilio, you look like you got hit by a truck. Are you okay?
Wow, thanks, Frank. I'm okay, but not for long. The Shadow King beat me to the final gemstone, and the second he touched it, he seemed to become incredibly strong and knocked me out. But that's the least of our worries. Whenever he's managed to harness the full power of that gem, he will be invincible. We need to get that gem back fast and stop him. Do you have any idea where he lives or where he could be storing it?
Well, yes, actually. He lives in a dark, menacing castle somewhere in the lands, but I've only heard rumors of it. I don't even know if it exists.
Huh, I guess that's what I must have seen earlier. Thanks for all the help, Frank. I have a feeling I know exactly where to find the Shadow King. On days 80 through 83, it was finally time to finalize my statue. At this point, I was in a constant danger from the Shadow King and his minions, so I wanted to finish it off while I still had a chance. The Lily Tads were kind enough to gather even more clay and other materials for me, and with them, I finished my statue off. The final part of the statue, which was the head, didn't take long to complete, and just like that, I finished my statue. It was so large and impressive, and I was really proud of myself for making this happen. Now those pesky shadow minions will know not to mess with us anymore. With the statue completed and out of the way, I headed out to collect some more resources to help me fight off the king. But on my expedition, I ran into a forest that was completely destroyed. What on earth happened here? Why would the king ruin a perfectly fine forest? There isn't even a settlement here to conquer. Just then, a group of wild squirrels attacked me from the nearby bushes.
You're going to pay for destroying our home!
Yeah, you're going down!
They started attacking me from all directions, but I could tell they didn't mean harm. They just wanted to protect their home. Whoa, guys, I swear I didn't do this. I'm not with the Shadow King.
Why should we believe you?
Yeah, what he said.
I told them about my plans to fight off the Shadow King, and after showing them my Heart of the Warden, they believed me. So what do you say, guys? How about you come home with me? It's way safer than out here all alone.
Thanks, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm tired of sharing a bush with this guy.
I made it back home with the squirrels on days 84 through 87, and as we arrived home, the squirrels told me more about the dark castle I had seen earlier.
That castle was constructed at the very beginning of the Shadow King's conquest, and he's been expanding it ever since. It's his home base.
I heard that's where he keeps all his prisoners. Scary stuff.
So that's where he must be storing the final gemstone. I need to go and get it back if I want any chance of taking him down.
Well, as nice as that sounds, it'll be a harder task than you can imagine. Even if you manage to raid the castle when the Shadow King is out wreaking havoc, you'll still need to get through his castle guards, and those guys are not to be messed with.
I heard his guards managed to kill the Ender Dragon in just one hit.
But I guess it's the only chance we have. Then I guess you'll just have to go for it.
I have to. If I don't go for it, I think I may never have another chance. I thanked the squirrels for all of their help, and as a thank you, I built them their very own tree houses. Since they mentioned they did not like sleeping next to each other, I built them a tree house each and connected them with a little bridge in the middle. Here you go, guys. I hope you like it.
It's amazing! Thank you so much!
Days 88 through 92 came around and I packed up everything I'd need to raid the castle, and then headed out at the crack of dawn. No matter what happens out there, I need to try my best, even if it costs me my life. It wasn't long before I had retraced my steps, and there it was. The massive dark castle I had seen earlier. Unlike last time, this time the surroundings were infested with dark creatures. They must be the king's guards. There was no way I was making it into the castle unspotted without a plan. But that's when it hit me. I started blasting my warden beams and my warden eggs to a meadow nearby, and this caught the attention of absolutely everybody nearby, and they all rushed towards the empty field. This is my chance. Without wasting a second, I started running towards the castle and made it in unnoticed in the nick of time. That's when I saw the guards return to their outposts and realized I had made it inside just in time. As I looked around, I spotted a spiral staircase heading upstairs, and I decided to go and investigate. During my way up, I spotted a room with two large mobs inside talking, and I decided to listen in on their conversation.
It shouldn't be long till our lord, the Shadow King, has harvested all the energy from the gemstone, and once that's complete, our kingdom will be impenetrable.
Yes, the power of even just one gemstone should make him invincible. Now, imagine he had two of them. All he needs to do is kill that stupid warden chicken. I don't know why he didn't finish the job earlier. Probably just to toy with his food.
I can't let that happen. I need to go and find that gemstone right now. I kept making my way up the spiral staircase, and that's when I saw a hallway leading up to a room lying behind an extremely fancy entrance. This has to be it. I entered the room on days 93 through 96 when I noticed a glisten from one of the corners. And that's when I saw the final gemstone with its energy being harvested by some sort of futuristic machine. That machine better not have been harvesting energy for long, or it may already be too late. I ran straight to the gemstone and picked it up, and when I did, I felt a strong power emanating from it. No wonder he was after this gem. It feels way more powerful than any of the other gems I had held before. But I didn't have time to be happy, because just then, loud alarms started blaring, and I heard the guards rustling around downstairs. Uh-oh, I've got to get out of here. I started running back down the stairs with the alarm still blaring, but that's when I noticed a door I hadn't seen before, and I decided to quickly take a look at what was inside. As I entered the room, I looked in horror as I saw tons of mobs locked up in tiny cages, and they all seemed hurt. That's when my eye fixated on one of the corners, and I noticed my mom locked up in a cage.
Cilio, get away! The guards are way too strong!
I started running up to her, but that's when the door behind me flung open, and a bunch of the Shadow King's guards attacked me. I tried fighting them off, but there were way too many of them to handle, and I knew I had to make an escape. Mom, I'm sorry. I promised to come back for you. I just barely managed to run past the guards and escape the building in time. The guards were still on my tail, but after a few well-calculated turns, I managed to lose them and safely make my way back home. I arrived at my base on days 97 through 99 when I ran into Frank and asked him about why my newly earned gemstone hadn't given me any powers yet.
To harness the full power of the final gemstone, you will need to take it back to the place where your adventure started. Back to your very own Warden City. There, if you take the gemstone and place it on the city's altar, you will undergo an irreversible transformation that will make you inconceivably strong. But beware, only the strongest of wardens have ever survived this procedure. You have to be absolutely sure you want to do this. There is no room for doubts in your heart.
I know I'm ready. Thanks for the help. I'm on it. I made my way back to where everything started, and as soon as I entered the city, all the memories came flooding back. How everything was destroyed, my dad killed, and mother captured. I had to do this, for me and for everybody. I took the very final gemstone to the city's altar, which luckily wasn't destroyed, and I placed the gemstone right on it. That's when the entire altar started glowing, and energy started flowing out of it. I felt a rush of energy in my body, and that's when I turned into a massive mutant warden chicken, gaining another 15 hearts. Whoa, I feel awesome! I tried out my new warden abilities, and each one of them seemed 100 times stronger than before. I'm finally ready to take on the Shadow King. That monster is going down. Just then, I had a headache, and that's when I saw a vision of my dad.
Cilio, it's been so long. It's good to finally see you again. I see you've become a formidable and strong young warden. I am so proud of everything you've accomplished so far. I know with certainty that you will defeat the Shadow King and save Earth from his evil reign.
Thanks so much, Dad. I needed to hear that.
No problem, son. Do this for everybody that the Shadow King has ever hurt. And more importantly, do it for your mother. You've got this, son.
I woke up from the vision, knowing exactly what I had to do. I made my way home for the last time and had one final sleep, ready for my big day tomorrow. I woke up on day 100, nervous but excited to take on my very last task. This is all I had trained for. Each gemstone I had found, every enemy I had fought along the way, all led to this. I packed up as much food as I could, said goodbye to all my friends, and started my expedition towards the Shadow King's castle for the very last time. I made it to the castle after a long walk and found the Shadow King pacing around the outside of the castle nervously. Hey there, you pathetic excuse of a tyrant. Are you ready to face my wrath? With the help of your gemstone, I've become more powerful than you could ever imagine. Get ready to be crushed.
My machine harvested more than enough energy to kill a little pipsqueak like you. Now bring it on!
We charged at each other, both fighting to the best of our abilities. I could tell that thanks to my new form, I was a lot stronger than ever before, and I was managing to hold my ground, but the Shadow King was still really powerful.
You're stronger than I expected. Too bad your whole mission was in vain, because right here and right now is where you die.
The Shadow King then started blasting me with a bunch of his shadow powers, and they were really starting to hurt me. Uh-oh, this isn't good. Here, take this! I started blasting the Shadow King with a flurry of my newly upgraded Warden powers, and I could tell they were really starting to wear him down.
No! How did you become this powerful? This isn't possible!
As he said this, I struck him hard with my sword, knocking him against his castle wall. You're never going to hurt an innocent soul again. Take this, you monster. I charged up one final Warden beam, and using it, I managed to finally kill the Shadow King, ending his evil rule once and for all. Yes, I did it! I then quickly ran inside to free my mother and the other prisoners. With the Shadow King gone, the world unwithered and left all of us at peace.